Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Abeer's Book Reviews, and today I'll be reviewing this book, Animal Farm by George Orwell. So as you can see, it is a pretty thin book. The version I have here doesn't touch 200 pages, but as I said for The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, even though the book is very short and concise, it's still a very powerful and impactful book, and it's very content heavy. Now, obviously, this book has been around for more or less 100 years, so some of you might already be familiar with it, or at least with some of the concepts of the book. But let me just reiterate them, and let everyone know. So, talking about what the book is, with the book's essence, I think this famous quote pretty much sums it up, which is that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So that is the essence of the book. It is about this group of animals who capture and end up ruling over a farm. And this does seem like the plot for a children's book, but the deeper symbolisms in the book are quite evident, and it's a very obviously satirical and critical comment upon the various forms of government that are employed by societies around the world. And more specifically, it deals with sort of the two extremes, so to speak, of government, which is extreme communism and extreme fascist authoritarian rule. So obviously, a farm is not something which is run typically by animals. It is run by their master, which are humans. So you can think of that as being the autocratic and tyrannical society with a dictator, and there's a very obvious power difference in the dynamics between the two groups of people. You have the animals, who are the working class, the lower class, and then you have the dictator, and the dictator benefits off of the product of the efficiency of the animals. So the animals produce milk, they produce eggs, they produce meat, and the dictator who sits at the top reaps the benefit and throws away the scraps to the animals. And then at the other extreme of the political divide, you have communism, where everyone is equal, and equal is within very heavy air quotes, because as the book shows, even if you have a very egalitarian view of society where you want everyone to be equal, more often than not, what actually ends up happening is quite different. You end up reverting to this power difference between the sects of society, and this power difference manifests itself quite slowly. It's not very obvious at first. At first, there's a lot of camaraderie between everyone. You participated in a sort of revolutionary overthrow, and you treat everyone with respect. You have this these codified rules that every animal is equal, so and so. But over a period of time, the inherent qualities of each animal, so to say, manifest themselves, and one group ends up taking over control of everyone else, even though it does not seem like they're doing it for their own benefit. It seems like they're doing it for the benefit of everyone else on the farm, but eventually you do realize that the driving factors behind this change in power were not very selfless. They were indeed very selfish. So that's pretty much the essence of the book. It's written in a very easy to read way, so that everyone can understand it. And if you look beyond only the words, you'll see that it is a very deep and a very honest critique of social structures. And you can sort of walk away from this book with the understanding that there is no such thing as a perfect society. There are periods in a society where things may appear to be perfect, but there are always other things going on behind closed doors that the common person might not be aware of. But at the end of the day, it all just sort of reduces down to a game of power. Earlier in the book, it was the humans who wielded the most power, and as you get to the end, it's the pigs who wield the most power. So it's always a game of power, and it's a very delicate balance in the middle where everyone has equal amounts of power. So I think that's pretty much it about the book. It's the type of book that you can't really review without spoiling it, at least a little bit. But still, even though I've given you the essence of the book, I think it's very important for you to go and read it yourself, because someone might be able to draw different conclusions from the book. And that's one thing I really like about the writing of the book, is that it does not very implicitly force opinions on you. It just provides an account. It just provides a sort of fictional detail of what can be, and it leaves the author the reader to draw their own conclusions. Like, for example, I just told you my conclusion is that in the end, in a society, everything reduces itself to a game of power, and you can never have a perfect society, no matter what end of the spectrum, of the political spectrum or the social spectrum you fall on. There's always going to be a power imbalance, and you just need to navigate your way through that. Someone else might be able to draw quite a different conclusion from the one I have, and yeah, that's why I think it's important to read this book. Obviously, it's a very classic book. I think it's pretty essential for everyone if you want to get into political science or into politics or government. I think it must be an essential read for someone looking to get into those fields, sort of as an introductory lesson to government. And another thing, which is something I say often when I review books of this nature, is that go into it with an open mind. It's it might seem like it's pretty anti-communist, and that is something for you to make up your mind on along the way. Don't go into it with the conclusion already in your mind. And it's also quite interesting because some people might consider this book to be very anti-leftist, but George Orwell was a socialist during his time in the early 20th century. He was a very staunch socialist. So that's something quite interesting, and something else that you can try to figure out for yourself, that even a socialist at that time, these were the types of thoughts he manifested in this book. So how the political spectrum has shifted from the 20th century to now, we're sort of in the middle of the 21st century. So yeah, that's pretty much it about the book. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit the like button. Here it is. Here's the book once again. If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the channel to keep receiving more videos like this one. I have been Abeer Rao, and thanks for watching.